However, I've always wanted to do more with this channel, and thank you guys so much for the support to get me here. But part of taking this music thing serious is also upgrading your tools. So today, we are starting the journey into pedals. So why tuning pedals? I've been using clip-on tuners for most of the time I've been playing, minus like the first year where I used some plugins, right? And they work great for the most part. However, lately I've been having this issue where it doesn't seem like they pick up my low B and E string as often. And this isn't with like one specific clip-on, this isn't with one specific bass. Like, this is at least 3 of the basses I regularly use that this has happened. So this is not a one-off situation. And when I think about it, it's technically been before that. Like, my low B string, I remember it used to be a little difficult to tune. I think just now, where I am in my career, it's more noticeable, at least for me. In live environments, especially the loud ones with like a lot of vibrations and big stages, it just seems like they don't always track consistently. And like those small inconsistencies continue to just, I feel like, throw off the feel of what I'm doing. And if you've ever had to jump on a gig where you forgot to tune, or you've been playing and your string goes out like slightly, just a hair, you know what I mean. And it stands out so much more when you're playing stuff with octaves or from playing a chord. Like, you start to clash with yourself. And don't let it be like a band hit or something where it just somebody sounds slightly off and part of you think it's you and you're like, please don't be me. So over these last few years, I've kind of realized that growing in music isn't just about playing better, but it's also being able to notice the things that you might have overlooked in the past. And when you learn to do those things, your playing gets better and everything else subsequently falls in line. So why pedals? Why am I now trying to get into pedals? Why am I now trying to talk to you guys about pedals? I've always been pretty minimal with my bass setups, like plug and play, just take my bass and whatever effects and abilities it has, I can and will make do with that. Part of that was me being easygoing as a person, but the other side of that was finances. I knew I didn't have to do it, and then I also didn't want to burden my mom or my family, grandparents with something like that. Especially when I grew up hearing that it's more so about tone and about your bass and be able to do what you can with your bass. Even if we look at the equipment that I have right now, I didn't pay for majority of the basses that I have. I've been blessed with those, and literally only 3 of them have I ever paid for. And even with those, someone looked out in a way for me to be able to get those. I'm not the money guy. I'm not now, and I don't think I'll ever be the one to say you need to get the top dollar equipment to be able to be great and be successful and to push your dreams. It's great to be able to get those if you can, but if you ain't got it, you ain't got it, man, and it's cool. Now, I do have a GT1B that I bought a few years ago, and I even did an unboxing video for it. I didn't post it. I also did not edit it. I'm so sorry, but I have one. And it served its purpose and still does serve a purpose. I wanted to do a couple different effects for a band I was playing for and still am playing for technically. But over time I just realized there are so many nuances in the multi-effects pedal and so many adjustments and things you can do. And I had no clue what I was doing. I'm pushing buttons, I'm turning knobs, plugging it into the computer, clicking on stuff and just hoping for the best, seeing what sounds come. And the truth is, I don't want to guess anymore. I want to be able to actually know what happens when you do an effect. What happens when you add one thing over another, or adjust this knob and turn this knob. And it's cool to know that from a multi-effects pedal, but I'm at the stage where I really want to know the science and also the sound of what's happening. The additional side to this is I've started dabbling a little bit in Keybase. And if I really want to go into Keybase and learn how to do synths, I need to understand sound design, because you cannot create the right patches and things if you don't know what pieces come together to create a specific sounding patch. And so I felt the best way for me to find out how all of these different effects and things work let's get some pedals. I can grow and build my bass sound, but also understand the difference between each piece because these are still going to translate directly to a key bass. And hey, let's just say I decide to pick up guitar one day. Probably won't, but in the event I do, it would be great to already know what everything on the pedal already does. And so on that note, let's open this up. There's also a mini and a view version of the StroboStomp. I specifically got this one for the 9-volt capabilities. This will allow me to be able to, have the option to do the battery, or I can still do the 9-volt DC plug. Micro USB is another option, or the 9-volt, depending on what situation I am. Bypass options, there's a switch that's going to be right here. Still there. Alright, let's try this A string. And I did intentionally put these out of tune for you guys. It would help if I tune the right peg. Just saying. You're never gonna get it to perfectly stop moving. And actually, so initial thoughts off the rip of this thing. This is cool. Like this is really cool. It is very overwhelming of a tuner for someone who went from a clip to now trying out pedals, and there are a lot of intricate things that can be adjusted, changed inside of this. There are so many other different settings in here. Again, I might have put myself in a little loophole. However, I know from hearing things, not from personal experience, that Peterson is like the staple for tuning. Like, this is what they do. Does this serve the purpose that I'm looking for? Yes. Is this something every musician needs to get? No. Is it something every bass player needs to get? No. Should you still look into getting a pedal? Yes. This may not be for you, but if not, that is cool. As long as you are in tune for all of your work, I feel like that's the key and most important part. Looking forward to using this afternoon for my revival service to see how that goes as well. With all of the other settings that this has, it is going to take me some time to get through. And so if you guys are interested in seeing what else this has to offer specifically for me, please let me know in the comments if you guys actually care, and I'll be sure to document that search. Please let me know in the comments, what was your first pedal if you got a pedal? What was the first upgrade you probably did past your instrument, chord, and amp that you felt like was necessary for your growth and your professionalism? Guys, please don't feel that you have to be the perfect and most amazing musician to get outside and play. A lot of times you won't get better until you learn what it's like to play with somebody else. I know for me personally, that's where I got most of my experience. Cool, I can practice at home, but also there's so much you gain from working around other musicians. Be okay with making those mistakes. They're gonna happen, and this is how you learn. Now, it would be great if you could not make those mistakes on the high-playing A-list gigs. But those are further down the road once we get there. But use this journey and this time before then to better ourselves so that we're most prepared for when that opportunity and when that call comes. Appreciate you guys for taking the time to watch this video. I'm not expecting perfection from myself, and I don't think you guys should either. At least not yet, right? A lot of this stuff takes time. We make mistakes, we adjust, we learn, we upgrade, or we just keep moving forward. This is one of my steps for me to keep moving forward. Appreciate you guys. Time for me to go get dressed.